So, Epson Ecotank printers, are they worth it? And who are they for? Coming right up. What's up, all you drawing maniacs? Welcome back to Drawing Logic for your drawing and tech-related info from my point of view. So in this video, we're going to talk about printers and specifically inkjet printers. Now, these are the most widely used printers out there as compared to laser printers, and for various reasons. Most notably because they have the cheapest entry price. I mean, you can get a inkjet right now retail for probably $30 to $40, and if you search, you can find even cheaper. And on Black Friday, usually like $25. So these are the reasons why they're so widely produced and used. Now, the drawback to inkjets though is that even though you may save money up front, it's going to cost you on the back end. And why is that? Well, because of print cartridges. You know, print cartridges are a scam. I mean, they are an absolute ripoff. The average company out there right now, it probably costs them maybe 10 to 15 cents to produce one of these things, and maybe 50 cents to put ink in it, and they charge an exorbitant price for these things. It's ridiculous. And I've known this for some time, but I mean, it really truly was nothing that you could do about it. And now Epson has given us a more professional solution in the form of Ecotank printers. Now, Ecotank printers are basically them ditching the cartridges and instead replacing the cartridges with reservoirs that are on the tank, and you fill it up with bottles of ink. So in this case, you just buy the ink and you don't have to buy the expensive cartridges. Now, to give you an example, this is a Epson print cartridge, and this is a 200 series. This is a magenta, and this is the cartridge that I use with my XP310, and that printer cost me about $60. And this thing holds about maybe 7 to 8 milliliters of ink, and I found that I was replacing the ink all the time. But if you buy a bundle of 4, it will cost you about $40. I mean, all 4 colors, you know, the black, the magenta, the cyan, the yellow, it'll cost you about $40. And if you buy the extra large capacity ink cartridges, the 200 extra large, it costs you about $53. Now, to give you comparison, this is the ink bottles, the 502 series ink bottles that comes with the Epson ET2750 that I have, and this contains about 70 to 80 milliliters of ink. And if you buy all 4 colors, the magenta, the yellow, the cyan, and the black, it'll cost you about $56. Now, to give you a comparison what that means, you know, as far as page yields go, and this is strictly the black ink, but the 200 cartridge, the black cartridge, will give you about 175 pages, whereas if you go with the extra large cartridges, it'll give you a yield of about 500 pages. Well, if you go with the ink bottles, the 502 ink bottles, you basically get 7,500 page yield. Again, dramatically more. So when you compare how much it costs compared to how often you have to replace it, then obviously you start to see the benefit of going with Ecotanks. Now, the drawback with Ecotanks, I'll say, is the entry price. As I say, for my XP310, I paid $60 for that. And for that, if you were to buy ET2750 now, originally they were $300. Now they are $250. So that's a giant price, much greater price to enter. But however, when you compare the ink and the cost of the ink, you're going to save dramatically on the back end. I mean, if you go with a XP310 and you continually buy the ink cartridges and replace them how often that you have to compared to the ink bottles, by the time it's all said and done, by the time you have to replace the ink for the ink bottles, you would probably, it cost you, maybe it would be $250 to buy one. But if you go with the ink cartridges, you would have spent $400 minimum. So again, you see the advantages of going with Ecotanks and why they're just so beneficial. Now, who are these for? If you're a type of person that prints once in the blue moon, every so often, like say only during tax time, then I would suggest you go ahead and get a printer with cartridges because they are cheaper up front and you really don't need them. But if you're a person that does moderate amount of printing, then Ecotanks is the way to go. Again, you're going to pay initially up front, but you're going to save dramatically on the back end. And just imagine how much it's going to cost if you operate a printer for, you have your printer for maybe 6-7 years and you have to keep replacing all those cartridges as opposed to buying bottles. It's going to be a dramatic difference. Again, the savings, it pays for itself after maybe a year or two of operating. It pays for itself. So my suggestion, I would suggest you go with the Ecotank. Now, me personally, I would never buy another print cartridge again because I don't want to get ripped off anymore. But your choice, the choice is you. Now, this has been my drone logic for the day. I hope this information is helpful to someone. And again, people, those Ecotanks, they're worth it. And by the way, you don't have to get the 2750. Right now a 2720 is $200 online, and the original one, the cheapest one they came out with, the 2650, if you can find that online, probably, if you can find brand new, maybe $150, or probably even cheaper than that. But again, Ecotanks are the way to go. They're the way of the future, and if they are more successful, I believe more companies are going to jump on board, and it's just going to be the new thing because, man, these cartridges are a rip off. But anyway, the choice is yours, and as always, y'all, until next time.